Hello and welcome to another episode in this fantastic series celebrating the work done by the Millwall Community Trust. I'm Johnny Burrow, I'm a broadcaster. I first got involved with the club and the trust through the No One Likes Us Talkin team, who we're going to be hearing from in this episode as ever. We got Eamon Barclay chatting to Dean Palmer, who is a football and sports development manager at the Millwall Community Trust. Dean talks wonderfully about his work with the MCT and the joy that comes from working with young people with a particular focus on race relations and social inclusion, and he's a local lad to boot too. We've got George Lampey again from No One Likes Us Talking chatting with Jason Vincent. He's a Millwall trustee and member of Millwall for All. He talks about the great work he does with the MCT, particularly on local estates across Southwark and the anti-knife crime and gang violence initiatives, which are so important. A quick point of note, by the way, on Millwall for All, which Jason is a part of, it was created to promote diversity and equality, and No One Likes Us Talking's very own Jeff Burnige was a founding member. So there we go. Next, we hear from John Scarborough. He's talking about the AP Academy programme with Ted Robinson. Now, this programme is for 14 to 16-year-olds, and it tries to work with schools in Southwark and Lewisham to give pupils a route into the professional football industry, helping both their education and particularly their sporting development. This is really important, both helping the schools out, but also providing young people with options, particularly if they don't want to go down a necessarily particularly academic route. Next up, it is Jeff Burnige, who we heard about just a moment ago. He chatted to Damien O'Brien. He's Southwark Councillor for the London Bridge Ward, and he talks about the challenges currently facing Bermondsey and the nation, to be honest, and how in that particular area the brilliant work done by the Millwall Community Trust can help the community get through it. Finally, we hear from No One Likes Us Talking's Eamon Barclay, George Lampey and Jeff Burnige, and they reflect on what we've all just heard and the multifaceted and multi-tentacled, if you listen to George, work done by the MCT. It's a fantastic episode. Enjoy.
I'm Eamon Barclay and I've got
Dean Palmer.
And what do you do, Dean?
I'm a football and sports development manager at Millwall Community Trust.
Thank you. Dean, great to talk to you here at St Paul's Sports Ground today.
Yep.
Tell us about why you have been and how long you've been involved with Millwall Football Club and the Community Trust.
So my involvement with Millwall Football Club has been about 6 years. I worked for a part of the club called Millwall for All, which dealt with race relations, social inclusion, etc. And we worked in the main club for 5.5 years. Then I saw a role at the Community Trust to be the football and sports development manager. Applied for that, and then luckily got the job. So I came over about 6 months ago.
What is it about Millwall and the trust that drew you to them in the first place?
I think first of all it was just the sort of camaraderie. The staff are really good over here. Everyone everyone is really tight knit. Work together really well. Everyone works hard, but has a lot of fun as well. And I think that you have to have that in a work environment. You have to be able to work, but also have a little bit of fun with the people you work with. That was one of the main reasons I came over. Plus, I like the club. I like the way that there's a football club so close to where I live, locally in the environment, in the area that I live in. Yeah. So
you're a local lad then?
Yeah, I'm originally from Brockley.
Yeah.
Sort of Forest around that part there. Still live there now.
Yeah.
So it takes me 20 minutes to get into work, which is lovely. So, yeah.
There's a bonus to that, not having to travel massive amounts. So what do you see as the big benefits of what you do?
Working with young people. I know there's a lot of stuff going on in terms of the local environment, Lewisham, Southwark, around them sort of areas there, Lambeth, in terms of antisocial behaviour, a lot of poverty. I like to make sure that there's young people with smiles on their faces and they feel safe.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big thing for me, is that they're smiling and they feel safe and that they're in a safe environment.
Yeah. It's a very mixed group of children and youngsters that get involved with what you do. Has that improved over the time since you've been involved?
Oh yeah. I think that makes it special. Is that everyone's different, everyone's background's different, everyone's lifestyle's different. So I think that makes sessions that we do even better, because not all the same. We're going to see the same child. You're always going to see different children. You're going to see different personalities, different attitudes. So yeah,
it makes a big difference.
Massive.
And in the longer term, what would you hope to see the benefits of the Millwall Community Trust being within the areas that you mentioned, Lambeth, Southwark, Lewisham? I
think as a football club, as a community trust, I think we've got a good name in Southwark. We do good work. So what I would like to see is that we continue that and grow on that. Fingers crossed, when a new ground's built, we can start doing a bit more in the community area and around that as well. But I just think that just to keep the quality work going, keep the young people happy, keep everyone smiling, develop other sports, because obviously my role is football and sports development manager. So to make sure that there's other sports that are accessible in the area as well, because not everyone wants to play football.
No.
There's other sports that people want to play as well. Other sports that probably is not accessible for inner city children. But we can try and make that happen for them, definitely.
So the regeneration, which John Berylson has said will happen, and I know, despite all the things that are going on around us at this moment in time, is still high on his agenda. What do you see the Community Trust, the club, benefiting out of a 33,000 stadium, a new railway station at the end of the Cold Blow Lane? What difference do you think that will make?
It will make the club more appealing, I think. More seats in the stadium generates more revenue, gives you an opportunity, fingers crossed, to buy better players, to get into. Listen, the goal is the Premier League, isn't it? That's always the goal for everybody. That can only really happen if you can generate more money. The station closer will allow fans, especially fans that live outside of the local area, to then come to the club and actually just take a step off the train and you'll be in the ground. And I think that will be key as well. But yeah, it's just getting more people through the doors and more of the community as well. So what our role is in the community trust is to make sure we get more community people in as well. So make sure that the club can continue to grow, continue to build and to thrive. Sometimes you need fresh blood to come in and allow the club to grow from within.
That's right.
Definitely.
That's right. No. Well, that's fantastic, Dean. I really enjoyed listening to you,
no problem,
talking with you, and no doubt we'll meet again sometime.
100%.
All right. Cheers.
Thanks a lot.
Ta.
I'm George Lampey, and I am interviewing Jason Vincent of the Millwall Trust, Millwall Trustee, and also a member of the Millwall for All.
That's correct.
Hello, Jason. How are you?
Hello there, George. Yeah, well, thank you very much. Good to be here at St Paul's, Granny, and it's pretty rainy, grey, misty, but...
Oh, yeah, it certainly is. But my first trip to St Paul's, it's lovely, isn't it?
It's an amazing facility, isn't it, really?
Tell me, how did you become a trustee of the...
Well, I suppose it goes back for maybe now 12 years in terms of my association with Millwall Football Club and the Community Trust. I worked over in Southwark Council as a community development officer, and a lot of my work, in terms of working, especially primarily in Burnige, was having association with the Community Trust. The club did a lot of great things, or the trust, as well, did a lot of great things on local estates across South Burnige and across Southwark wide. And we just did a lot of work around families, young people, health and well-being and sports activities, and also as well we got together to create various different anti-gang and anti-knife crime initiatives. And just down the years, I've just had this great rapport with the club club and with the Community Trust, and I think in 2010, Jeff, who's just round the corner over there, appointed me as a trustee at Millwall for All, which you know about is about inclusion and anti-racism initiatives. And again, as a charity, we worked very much closely with a trust, so we did lots of other kind of like community work across Southwark and across Lewisham. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, I think it's Millwall, they get into your blood, really, don't you know?
I can see that by your smile.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, yeah. So I.
Do you predominantly work with the young lads? Or?
Yeah. So I work predominantly, most probably, with young lads. It would be boys and girls and teenagers as well too. So a lot of the stuff again, which we do is see how we could improve the quality of those young people's life, be it if it's them getting involved in sporting, health and wellbeing activities, or if it's something around education and and for them to do after school classes. And also we've done things where we try and get parents involved with the kids as well too,
Right.
Just trying to make it really something meaningful and a wholesome activity.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds great. I mean, so where you are, I mean, obviously COVID would have played a big part in what's going on at the moment for you personally, helping the kids and the like.
Yeah, well, it has, but I had to say it's Sean Daly and his team of coaches. I think Dean Palmer and guys like Richard White as well too. They've been immense with just working throughout. Contacting local communities and organisations, getting them down here to St Paul's. Getting the kids playing football, and then after they finish playing football, them and their families are having really nice meals and just getting together and keeping a really good kind of spirit, forging good spirit together. And I think it's the work of Sean, Dean and the other coaches and Richard, which has really been very inspirational. Really inspirational, and I'm really proud, to be associated with the work which the Community Trust have been doing during this period.
I can see you're infectious, just me sitting there with that lovely smile of yours.
Yeah. Oh, John, you flatter me.
But so where do you see the Community Trust going from here? I mean, it's obviously does so much, and for me, if I'm really honest, Jason, I didn't know a lot of the stuff that you guys did, but just looking recently, because we were coming here today, I'm just flabbergasted by the work you guys do.
Yes, it's amazing work, and it's work which Millwall, the club, and the trust, and Millwall for All have been doing now for since I've been working here since 2008. But it just seems to just go from strength to strength. And what's amazing is how the Community Trust seems to find a way of doing some really important activities with young people, with family, given the constraints around service cuts to services, for youth services especially as well too. Now we've got COVID going on here, staff and and other people who've had to be furloughed or whatever and the like, and yet we still managed to kind of get out to the community, work with the young people and their families, and do it at very much professional, first class rate as well too. So
sorry, Jason, that was just Jeff banging one of the chairs. I mean, you mentioned Sean early on.
That's right, yeah.
Daly. I mean, we have spoken to him on the show many times, but as the leader of this project all around
absolutely,
us, he just seems to lead by example, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does, very much so, Sean. You said I'm infectious. He's very much an infectious type of guy as well too. I think the key is this, and with everything, is that he's very passionate about community. He's very passionate about working with young people and working also with their families and local residents in terms of doing the right thing, and for Millwall, for the club to be at the forefront in our local areas, be it Southwark, Lewisham, or down in Kent, Bexley, Bromley, etc., to make sure that we're at the forefront there, and that we're committed, and that we're very much a beacon in terms of representing the club. Yeah.
So you're not just covering Lewisham and Southwark. You are going out into other areas.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So we're looking at out in Kent, so like places like Bexley Heath, Bexley itself, so like in and surround us, like Dartford as well too, Downham. So the presence is pretty strong. Yeah, our coverage is really good. It's far out and wide because we know about very many. So like fans, who still live out there as well too. So we just again, all the stuff which we do, here more into like Bermondsey, Southwark and Lewisham. We just want to replicate that across the whole piece really, and make sure that the whole Millwall family are together.
Well, I think the kids are very lucky to have people like you, Jason.
Oh, well,
because I've only been in your company about 5 minutes and already I'm uplifted. So well done to you, mate. Thank you very much.
Cheers, George. Pleasure. Yeah.
We're back here with John Scarborough, who's going to talk to us about his AP project. Now, John, if you want to let us know what the AP project is.
Yeah, so it's called the AP Academy Programme, and it's for 14 to 16-year-olds. It's unique in the sense that most football clubs or trusts will have a post-16 academy programme that provides education and football participation, in some ways often a route into the professional game. Where the AP programme is generally it's actually for 14 to 16-year-olds, so it's actually trying to work with schools in Southwark and Lewisham to provide their young people with access to a professional football club or the football industry. We've doubled in size year on year. We're up to now 55 in transfers, I say, with us, and they get day release from their schools, and they come to us 1 day a week on a fully intertwined education programme with their school. So a student may come from one school and there'll be 1 day programme that's tied in with their Key Stage 4 programme of learning. The reason we do that is to provide the value added for some schools that actually a lot of young people may not wish to go down the academic route, though it is really important that they achieve their best grades in year 11. Often they've got ambitions or ideas or views about what they want to do, but often when they do it at 16 they go to college and realise that it wasn't for them, or it is really what they want to do. The challenge we put to ourselves and what we set up is give that opportunity to them when they're 14 so they can make that assessment, they can get that experience at an earlier age so they make the right decision when they leave school. We've been running now for 4 years, and we've increased every year, and this year will see us probably go to about 70 across the year. Our ambition is hopefully to become a school. We're at the moment doing some exercises with both councils and also the local schools to see about putting an application together to become an actual school in some shape or form. That may be in partnership with a school or our own entity. So in essence, a Millwall Academy school, and that would be a 14 to 19 programme. Why we do it is because we want to just give young people a journey, and that we want them to stay when they're with us 14, 16, to stay with us when they're 16, 17 and 12. But at the end of that journey, why can't they come and work for us? Why can't they be a coach? Why can't they be the next manager of Millwall First Team? Why can't they be the next physiotherapist? Why can't we create that career and train opportunity now and provide that journey for young people, because they definitely are interested.
Well, I was going to say, John, I mean, it's very interesting to me because you're talking to kids of 14 years of age here, and I think at that sort of age is the right time for them to be starting to think about what they're going to do, where they want to go and where to go. Not when it's like their last year of school, which is when it all seems to get thrown at you, if you know what I mean. It's a no-brainer to me because you throw it on the child for the last year of their thing, and there's too much going on in their life. It needs to be planned in a sense, and that's what the programme's trying to do.
And the thing is, we call it AP, which is alternative provision. So it's come from, I suppose, a basic backdrop of young people who are struggling in education. But in essence, our belief is our offer shouldn't just be for those who have got behavioural support needs. It should be for them, but it should be for any young person. The football club should be open to all walks of life, all different needs, and that's what we've created. You're absolutely right. The idea that we're looking at is to provide an opportunity for young people to get a taste. Because often they'll come to us because there's a problem at school, but it isn't matched up. Where now this is matched up, it ensures that they have a break from school, a difference from school, where there might be some difficulties. But rather than be sent to a place for 3 to 6 months and then go back to school, all they are is 3 or 4 months, 6 months further down that conveyor belt behind everyone. What this ensures is they come to us, but it's still part of it. So they still go back on that conveyor belt where everyone else is, plus the additions they get with us. That's where it's worked really well, and that's why we want to try and develop that into our post-16. We've got our first cohort this year of Year 11s who've been with us last year, and through COVID we've been teaching them through. We've done online home advantage program, the Millwall Home Advantage, where we've been doing sessions with them online and making sure they've got their education still maintained. Some of them have been frustrated because a lot of the young people have shall we say, not had that additional input, but the schools that we've worked with have been committed, and they provide that to ensure that every day they would log in and they would do their activation sessions, morning sessions, football coaching, their sports qualification and their employability sessions, and they've done fantastically well. And as a result of that, we go into Year 11 in front of where we should have been anyway. A bit more focus when you're indoors, I'd say, rather than 30 other people in a classroom. But the great thing for us is now this is the first step where we're going to take them into a post-16, so hopefully they'll get a taste of our post-16 and come on to our post-16 academy or traineeship. The big sell for us is the uniform, giving them a sense of purpose and identity, like any football fan, any support up and down the country would have. It's why we wear the kit, just feel that sense of bond of someone. And you see that every time a young person comes in. His first question, when do I get the kit? And they're perhaps not even a Millwall fan. When do I get my uniform? When do I get my kit? We never preach to be called sir, but that's the respect that they have. They'll often treat us as such.
And just talking about that, bring in a little bit about Aidan O'Brien. I know it helps you no end as you were talking about.
Yeah, massively.
What would you like to say about Aidan?
Aidan was unbelievable. For someone so young, I have to admit, I didn't expect him to have such an experience and background that he had that resonated so well with the young people. It often takes me and my staff I think we're good, but I think it takes us about 4 or 5 seconds to get quiet in a group. And Aidan had never met our students, and I just walked him through the door with our CEO, and the students literally were having a laugh joke. They were still on a lunch break, and I'd say it was probably 1.5 seconds we timed it out, and from them going from being loud and as we say, a joyous football rabble to sitting down silent, looking up, waiting to listen. And they did not know who was coming. So for me, that tells you the power of football, the power of what a professional footballer can have. And Aidan just didn't achieve that. He delivered on it, which was telling them a story about his background that related to them. And I still get in that. When's Aidan coming back? When am I going to get to beat him on FIFA? Because unfortunately he is a FIFA champion, which he beat them both on during his mentoring session. So I think you don't lose a winner in whatever they do.
But he was a winner in his own right, Aidan, without a doubt.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, John, I think we better let you get back to your lesson.
Fine.
Thank you very much for the cheers, mate.
This is Jeff Burnige, one of the No One Likes Us Talking team, and today I've got Damien O'Brien with me. Damien is a Southwark councillor, currently for London Bridge Ward, formerly Grange Ward, where he is still a resident. And Damien has taken an interest in local community activities, and I'm going to ask him, brought him to the attention of community work involving the Millwall Community Trust.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
So I'm asking what attracted you to doing something like this?
Okay, so as you can probably tell by the sound of my voice, I'm an import. I like to feel that I've been adopted by Bermondsey, and I moved here in 2005 and got involved in the local community, and that sort of expanded really to getting elected as a councillor in 2014, and then got re-elected in 2018. And I think coming from when I was renting in North London, the sense of community that you have in Bermondsey is so incredibly strong. It's quite addictive, and for someone who's now living here and wanting to be part of that local community is why I got involved. And then from things kind of spread out from there. So I'm a trustee of the Oxford and Bermondsey Club, which is in my ward as well. Which has gone through, and I think a lot of Bermondsey is going through a lot of change. I think the world is going through a lot of change, and we have new challenges ahead of us now. Bermondsey coming from a history of, a strong history of family and community. With the Dockers and back in the day. And we're finding now that with social media, with a lot of kids have got single mums now. We're suffering a lot with absent dads as role models for those kids. And I think we've gone through a period where those kids have lost a lot of structure around them. And that's, as a community, we've got to put our arms around that generation and turn that around. And I think the what's been going on at Millwall Community Trust and at the Oxford and Bermondsey Club as well is working towards that. And I think it needs to be done in partnership of all of the local stakeholders, I guess you call it in modern parlance. But Southwark Council has definitely got a massive role to play in that. And being on the inside and being able to work out and sort of the machinations of local government, and being able to sort of pull the right levers to facilitate that, I think is something that I'm very keen to be able to offer that service as well, along with my councillor colleagues.
Well, the Oxford and Bermondsey Club, there's a lot of Millwall supporters, past and present members there.
Father Owen.
And it's very handily placed for Manze's Pie and Mash Shop as well. I was told that's their canteen. I don't know whether that's right. In fact, my own dad, who he grew up in Snow's Fields in your current ward.
Yes.
He was a member of the OUBC as well, I think. And sadly, a lot of people might remember him from his time at Millwall. But have you ever been to Millwall matches, Damien?
I have indeed. In fact, my brother lives in Sydney. He's got a wife and two very lovely boys. And he spent 2 years out here when he was studying, and when he came back with work, I said, is there anything you want to do in London that I can organise for your trip out? And he said, I'd like to go to a Premiership football game. And I said, well, yeah, okay, we could probably get tickets. We might be stuck at the back of the Emirates and, need binoculars to be able to see the players. So why don't we go up to Millwall and watch Millwall play? When they were in the Championship before they went down and before they came back. And I can't remember who the team is we were playing, but we went up there. And, of course, Millwall won 4-0. So I was able to say, well, that's just a typical Saturday afternoon in Bermondsey. So, but I think overall, though, there's some of the issues things are happening at different levels. And one of the things I'm also involved with, I sit on the main planning committee at Southwark. And the world over, there's a gentrification that's going on. Land use, land values are skyrocketing. And we've got to be careful that we don't let any particular vested interest dominate over the needs of the local community, because this piece of land, for example, and we've just had the Dulwich Hamlets application come through as well. The land is extremely valuable if you're a developer and you want to sell it to wealthy investors. Quite often people who may not even live here. Certainly people, if they live here, they're not inclined to want to be involved in the local community. They have their own agenda. Not judging them for that, but that's generally the demographic you get. And you mentioned Snowsfields. Of course, we've got the St Thomas East, the 4 patches of land up there which have flowed on from the Shard. We've got to make sure that if those developments are going to happen, that we as local residents and the local community benefit from that. So and I think being honoured enough to have been elected, and to be honest, the first time I only got in by 6 votes, so it was a bit touch and go. But to me, it is an honour to have been elected and to be in a position where I've got levers that I can grab onto that I wouldn't have done if I hadn't have been elected, and I want to make the most of those. I want to be as much for the power of good for the local community, because Bermondsey is an extraordinary place.
It is, and it's always been a place, like all inner city areas throughout the world, particularly those that are involved in ports. They've always been scenes where migrant populations came and then spread out. So being a Kiwi, that doesn't make you anything special, Damien, although I don't think there's ever been a single Millwall player play for New Zealand. Your friend from Sydney will have known all about the likes of Tim Cahill, Lucas Neal and others. We've had several.
Yes, well, that's as near as we get.
I noticed when he asked you about which game to go to that you managed to steer him towards Millwall, and you also used the crucial word we. I don't remember who we were playing, you said. So, Damien, I no longer need to ask you where your football heart lies. What have you seen about the work of the Millwall Community Trust that particularly impresses you?
Well, I haven't been directly involved with Millwall because my time has been taken up more sort of with the Oxford and Bermondsey Club side of things, and Father Owen, you probably know.
Of course.
So he organises the annual tournament with Dragons up in Oxford, because Oxford and Grange Ward was seen as a ward of high deprivation in the day, and it was and Cambridge universities that started doing something about it. And there's photos of turn of the century. The kids have got no shoes, for crying out loud. Real Dickensian sort of stuff. So I see what happens at Millwall more through Simon's eyes than anything else. But I see what he does down there and what I do with Oxford and Bermondsey. It's all running in parallel. We're all pulling in the same direction.
Well, thank you very much, Damien. I hope that Millwall and the Community Trust will see more of you in the years to come, particularly as you're a serving councillor with an interest in planning. Yep. That is an issue which the Millwall fans have become more aware of in recent years, as you well know. Thank you very much, and we hope to see a lot more of you in the future.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm Eamon Barclay. I'm here with George Lampey and Jeff Burnige from the No One Likes Us Talking team. In fact, we're all from the No One Likes Us Talking team, from Millwall. Well, what a great day that's been today, lads. What did you make of what the Millwall Community Trust have got here at St Paul's Sports Ground? George?
Well, thanks for that. I mean, it's been a great day here. Shame about the weather, but we can't have everything. I like lots of Millwall supporters, and I would have thought the vast majority of us know that we've got a Millwallers Trust, and we have had for many years, or, sort of something in the community. But being here today, my eyes have just been opened up by so much that has been going on. I'm flabbergasted, actually, and I interviewed Simon early on today, and he was saying that the trust is very much like an octopus. It has so many arms going in different directions, and that is what I find Sean and his team deserve great credit for the job that they are doing, and I just wish more Millwall supporters knew what a marvellous system and what these guys provide for our football club.
It is. It's incredible. I mean, Jeff, you spoke to people today. What do you see as some of the great outcomes of what the Community Trust does?
It does so many, doesn't it, Eamon? We covered virtually everything today. Not quite everything. They do even more things than we were able to talk about. What I was particularly impressed with was the fact they made the decision to make all the holiday sessions free of charge.
Yeah.
I think that's a fantastic gesture. Programme of food distribution to the kids, which has been fronted by Jed Wallace. And the fact that at the end of a session they would give the kids, a box of food, when I was told that some of them stopped halfway through and handed the second half of the package to their mother. That brought it home to me what a great need there is in the community and what a brilliant job Sean and his team are doing. I was really, really uplifted, and it made me realise that I'm not wrong to think Millwall is the best little club in the world.
No, and everything that is involved with it. I mean, the other great gesture I picked up was the guy that supplies the food for circulation to something like about 170 kids. It is actually a Millwall fan. The amount of people that are involved, from the catering staff at the football club to the coaches and volunteers who come along and help distribute it, whilst the others are engaging with the kids on the pitch at all sports and teaching them about nutrition and making it just a great day for them. It's an incredible thing. I mean, Jules, did you speak to any of the participants in other elements that we saw today?
Yeah, well, obviously, I even spoke to a mum. I mean, she had her daughter there, and I mean, there was lots of, you may have seen also, they've got a nice little stand where people sit and all the mums and dads were there watching their kids. And that was quite full, actually, wasn't it, as the day went on? I thought it was lovely to see. And you mentioned about the football club, which I think deserves credit. I mean, we partaked in one of their meals, didn't we, ourselves? So yeah. I just thought it was lovely. And the boys, as you said, dashed off to get the meals at the football club and bring it back for the kids. And I thought they're all working together. And, we often hear this Millwall family and, maybe it's said flippantly and not. But when you go to St Paul's, I think you see the Millwall family really working together.
Yeah.
Anything that you would add to that, Jeff? Yeah. I don't want to keep you back from getting home for midnight or something like that.
I'd just like to agree with George. He mentioned the key phrase, Millwall family. To be honest, there have been times over the last few years when it hasn't been obvious that everyone was pulling in the same direction. But since Sean has been at the helm, I have seen a transformation. We had a couple of down years, but Sean and his team have done an amazing job, and I was filled with pride at what I saw today. There were a few people there, obviously observing social distancing. Not easy to remember when you get enthusiastic and excited about what you're looking at. But it was a brilliant day, ending up with watching training on the pitch. First, the Millwall Romans, that new part of the club, which I think we can take great pride in, and then the Lionesses Academy, and then the first team. That was a great end to the day. That went on till 9 o'clock. It will be midnight. You're not far wrong, Eamon. Absolutely, thoroughly enjoyable day, and that's the most excited about the community scheme I've been in many years. I was around when it started in 1985, and often been cited as a beacon of the club. It's quite obvious that all parts of the family have been reunited in the last year or two. It was just a fantastic day, and I can't speak too highly of what we saw.
Well, thanks, George and Jeff. Sounds like you enjoy it today as much as I did, and I'm looking forward to pick up on other elements of the Community Trust that we'll engage with soon. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
All the best, Damien.
What a great listen. Fantastic to hear from Dean Palmer, Jason Vincent, John Scarborough and Councillor Damien O'Brien, as well, of course, as the No One Likes Us Talking team. One quick point on New Zealanders before we leave you, which is not a sentence I was expecting to say when I woke up this morning. In his fantastic interview with Damien O'Brien, Jeff Burnige remarked that we've never had a Kiwi at Millwall. However, he has since recollected that we did in fact have Chris Wood, now of Burnley, for a spell. He's vice-captain of the New Zealand national team and a top-class striker who is well remembered at the Den. There's lots to look forward to in the final episode of this series next week. As ever, it will feature the thoughts of those who work for the Trust, and we'll hear more from those who use its services. It's also going to look at how the MCT plans to operate in light of the recently extended coronavirus restrictions and how it can continue to help the community in these strange and difficult times. So keep your eyes peeled, it's not one to miss.